Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a review of the Hublot Classic Fusion 8-Day Power Reserve Titanium. This is one of many Classic Fusion models, and I sort of want to explain what the Classic Fusion is. So in the early 2000s, about 2004, well, I think it was 2004, Hublot released the Big Bang. Maybe it was 2005. It was about then. They released the Big Bang, and that was sort of the relaunch of the brand. Hublot as a brand began in, I believe, 1982, and it sort of just existed, and then it wasn't really doing well. And then after Jean-Claude Biver sold Blancpain to the Swatch Group, he was looking for the next thing to do, and he purchased the ailing Hublot brand, which at the time was losing money. And then he reformed it and eventually sold it to LVMH, stayed on board, and now is the head of watches at LVMH, and he is currently the CEO of Tag Heuer at the time of doing this review. So he's sort of an important personality in the watch industry, and his savior of Hublot made him both famous and infamous because he did a lot of things, a lot of promotional activities that were things that no other watch brand would do, and he really put watches in the public eye in a way that hadn't been done in a long time, but he did so in a very non-conservative way, which is why he is the wonderful character he is, and I always have a lot of respect for him because in a lot of ways he was sort of able to do the impossible. But anyways, that's a whole other story talking about Jean-Claude Biver. But the reason I brought it up is because the Classic Fusion, when it came out, was actually a return to classic Hublot, pre-Biver Hublot, and the design that sort of made the brand what it is. And it was sort of, not exactly, but what they essentially did is they took the Big Bang and they sort of combined it with the look of the original Hublot watches, and they called it the Classic Fusion because it's supposed to be their sort of dressier model. This is the 45mm wide case, which is about as big as the Classic Fusions get. And again, this is in titanium because it's mostly polished titanium. Relatively thin for an Hublot watch. It is actually quite comfortable, but there's a lot of sort of distinctive Hublot elements, the lugs, the bezel, and I like the H-style screws there. Now the dial of this watch is overall really nice. It's quite legible. However, the fact that the dial itself is kind of glossy and the hands and hour markers are polished, sometimes in certain lights what that does is it causes it to kind of blur together, and that's one of the dangers of having a watch with those polished elements. But on the plus side, it gives it a little bit of a, what I'll call a sparkle factor. You can see there, as I move the watch in the light, it plays with the light a little bit, and that's sort of the more elegant look that you can say that you want in a watch. Functions on the watch include the time, subsidiary seconds dial. There's a date there hiding behind the minute hand, and a power reserve indicator. I'll flip it around here and look at the movement. I think Hublot did a really nice job with this movement. It's the in-house made caliber HUB 1601. It's a manually wound movement, very modern design on the bridge, on the gears there. It's some skeletonization going on there. Nice bridge work in terms of how they've cut it. Again, just sort of a nice, relatively slim movement, large diameter to fit the case, and it has a power reserve of 8 days, which is a nice long time, and I do appreciate the fact that there's that very conspicuous power reserve indicator on the case. One of the things I've always liked about this and a lot of the other Classic Fusion ones is the strap. They call it the gummy strap, and it's a piece of alligator leather on top, and it's sewn into a rubber lining, and that makes it really, really comfortable. So let's put this watch on, and again, the 45mm wide size is going to be the limit of the Classic Fusion as far as I believe. It's the biggest that they get, and they go down to, I think for men, about 40, and I think there might be maybe some smaller versions for women. A lot of people who are not what I could say traditional Hublot fans or enthusiasts have definitely a sympathetic side for the Classic Fusion. It is the Hublot for a lot of people that don't like Hublots. I tend to be more of a Big Bang guy myself, but I have to say that I like this watch a lot. It is really, really comfortable. They do a very nice job with comfort. in part the strap. It's also the fact that the case is designed with a relatively flat bottom, and these lugs don't go down so far, but it is a nice, comfortable watch. The thickness of the strap, well, I guess the width of the strap, it's not that thick, with this nice alligator texture, because it's alligator, going along with this sort of more elegant look of the shininess, gives it a more formal feel than a lot of the more sporty Hublots, and I think that's something that a lot of people are looking for. So again, it has some quirks to it in terms of, again, legibility and things like that, but it's overall a great watch. And if you want an Hublot that has a little bit of a unique movement, that has a lot of Hublot character, but that has a more restrained, formal look, this is definitely a way to go, either this Classic Fusion or one of the many, many other ones that they have. Again, this is the Hublot Classic Fusion 8-Day Power Reserve Titanium. The price is $16,400, and you can see the full review on aBlogtoWatch. Thanks.